hour yet? That's right. You're reading the chalice lighting and I'm lighting the chalice, is that right? Correct. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I don't know if this is on or not. Is it on? Okay. You need to get closer. Come here. Come here. Okay. Oh, now I can hear it. Yes. You know, I've taught to auditorium with 100 or so people, and I just think my voice carries, but it doesn't carry virtually, does it? No. Okay. Welcome. Welcome to Westside Unitarian Universalist Church. Welcome if you are here in person. Welcome if you're joining us virtually. We're happy to have you. We're happy to see you or to be with you. We are a church that welcomes everyone without regard, gender, spiritual orientation, race, even what part of the country you come from, because a couple of us are Yankees, aren't we? Sort of, yeah. We're here together to join the spirit of love, acceptance, community. There are some announcements in your order of service or scrolling across your screen. Let me point out a couple and then note, before I forget, 3 o'clock today is Earth Church here. It is in your order of service, but very worth noting, our Share the Plate partner this month, this whole quarter is Knox Pride, and anybody who has not been down to the center, I really recommend you seeing it. They've only been there for a few years, and it's amazing what they've done, and amazing to hear them talk about all they're doing in the community. It's downright inspiring. You can donate to the church, to Knox Pride, to the whole thing at the back on your QR codes. Drop check. You can designate that it's all for Knox Pride or that it's all for Westside. If you don't designate, then 3/4 stays here and 1/4 goes to Knox Pride. And we are going to have a retreat in the fall. Yes. For those of you who haven't ever been, they are just wonderful. We're out there. At this time, it's going to be in November. You know, the leaves will be colored and falling, and it'll be gorgeous. And if you want to do it, there we have cabins reserved. There's forms on the back table. Write down. They need a $20 deposit to hold the cabin, which you can do on a QR code or check as long as it's designated. And talk to anybody who's been, if you're wondering about it, because it really is wonderful. This is a beautiful, albeit hot, summer Sunday and Father's Day. And as part of the welcome, I want to read a couple of thoughts on Father's Day. One is from somebody I've never heard of, anyway, named Keely Chase. A father's love is like an evergreen, steady and strong, weathering all seasons. And finally, from Andrew Blackburn, Father's Day is for all men who have made a lasting impact in someone's life. Celebrating. Other than that, read the rest of the announcements. Our service today, fortunately for us, is being given by Jane Flanagan, who a longtime member here and distinguishes herself by maintaining membership here as well as at Oak Ridge Unitarian Universalist Church. And she's done sermons for us many times, and this one was inspired by a time in Muir Woods. So I am really looking forward to that. And now,
I have a reading.
the bowl? You had the bowl listed first.
And then you do the bowl.
Oh, okay.
We'll get it straight. And just to straighten you all out, I am not a member here. I am a member at Oak Ridge. Oops, sorry. I'm a better member at Oak Ridge, so I did drop my membership here, but I still contribute when I can.
I consider you a member. You pledge, for goodness sake.
Thank you. Emerita?
Yeah, you're
Okay. In the beginning, darkness covered the face of the deep. Then the rushing breath of life hovered over the waves. Let us breathe together. Let us catch our breaths from the need to make, to do. Let us be conscious of the breath of life. We breathe out what the trees breathe in, and we breathe in what the trees breathe out. Together, we breathe each other into life. Blessed is the one within the many. Blessed are the many who make one. We light this chalice for those who are told they are too something, too quiet, too shy, too loud, too awkward, or too much. We light this chalice for those who are told they are not something, not pretty, not popular, not strong, not smart, not enough. We light this chalice for those who are bullied, who are ignored, who are rejected, who are lost. But we also light this chalice for those who know our world is made more vibrant by those who are too much or not enough. I think it's time for him. Oh, sorry.
And now I'd like to invite or command the choir to come up and lend the rest of us moral support for singing. This is congregational singing, but led by our choir. Spirit of Life. Our Father, we thank thee for trees. We thank thee for the trees of our childhood, in whose shade we played and read and dreamed. For the trees of our school days, the trees along the paths where friendship walked. We thank thee for special trees, which will always stand large in our memory, because for some reason of our own, they became our trees. We thank thee for the great stretches of trees which make the forests. May we always stand humbly before the trees and draw strength from them as they, in their turn, draw sustenance from thy bounties of earth and sun and air. This is a trip report of sorts. I know you came from church for a message, but this is a trip report. Well, a little over a year ago, my very old daughter and her very old son and I took a short day trip to Muir Woods from San Francisco. Now, I bet many of you have been there or know about it, but just a quick refresher, 240 acres of old-growth redwoods. Other redwoods in the region have lost their lives to logging. Here, the steep slopes made these woods unsuitable for logging. A dam for hydroelectric power was suggested as a business-like alternative. Dismayed, a concerned citizen persuaded a wealthy friend to buy the acreage and donate it to the U.S. government. President Teddy Roosevelt eagerly accepted this precious gift, which was named after naturalist John Muir,
who had long campaigned for natural preservation. Here, ancient, undisturbed trees grow tall and straight. So the three of us walked through the entrance to the woods and slipped into the quiet forest. The tiny redwood river babbled along, and the trail meandered through the redwood groves. All is still. Only the tweets of birds and the muttering of the river are heard. We breathed deeply in, then out, sensing the oxygen created by the trees, feeling the energy. One had only to be here in the silence of the forest. Along the trail, a display showed a slice of one tree. Now, this tree had not been in Muir Woods because it was a slice. But someone with good eyes and a much better magnifying glass than I ever owned had counted the rings since his birth over 1,000 years ago, before the trip of Columbus, before the birth of our country, before the American Revolution, before the airplane, before the telephone. And almost as wide as I am tall, it had an oval shape. I don't know what caused this. Were there stressors on one side, room to grow on another? Clearly, the core of this tree was very off-center. But why? And this slice had been cut in 1990s. What was the tree's fate? Was it a storm? Lightning? Perhaps this tree from a distant grove perhaps became fodder for a voracious chainsaw, a redwood deck builder, the folks that thought the wood itself was beautiful. My daughter and grandson stood with me. Another display described the redwood grove we were facing. The father tree, a charred remains, straight, tall, but branchless and lifeless. Yet, he was surrounded by his offspring. Newer, younger trees sprouted up from his roots, now mighty and tall themselves, shielding him from further damage. Is this what our offspring are doing? Staying close, protecting us from stumbles and mishaps? I looked at these two descendants of mine. A toss of the genetic dice gives each of us a unique cocktail of DNA from ancestors we knew, as well as those we didn't. Could their stories be known? The teenage girl who came from Sweden to be a maid, the Western Pennsylvania coal miner, the British chemist who evacuated from his laboratory in Belfast during the Troubles and raised his family in North Carolina, and the others, proud members of the DAR, a not well-known but well-respected Mayflower passenger. But who were the others? Nameless? Faceless. Their stories may once have lingered in the family lore, but later the stories became fragments, and the fragments drifted away and were lost altogether. Yet, here in the redwoods, the younger trees stand, alert, protective maybe. They know their roots. Another grove has been aptly named Cathedral. Trees hundreds of years old soar upwards like European cathedrals, reaching in their own way to the Great Spirit. The air smelled moist and mossy, giving a sense of incense. Little light seeped through. It seemed to call for candles. No wonder this grove had such a grand name. But wandering on, I found an outlier. Not a redwood, but a bare deciduous tree that was a big tangle of branches, stems, small trunks going in many directions, reminded me of the hair on Medusa's head, or the snakes that were the hair. What was the capricious mood of the great creator to make such a fine but wayward tree? What is the lesson here? Caught among this tall, handsome family, was he the child laughed at in school for being different? The gay boy who wanted to hide in the closet to avoid the taunts of the other trees? The foster child, taken in and nurtured and protected anyway? Can we not look at the forest and see the trees and see that in spite of our human endeavors, the forest marches on, growing, surviving in its own mysterious way? Long after the human caretakers have come and gone, the roots will continue to drink resources from the earth and grow anew. Later today, we sing "My Life Flows On in Endless Song." Is this a lesson of the redwood forest, the remnants of an endless redwood forest that once covered over 2 million acres of our West Coast? The river runs through, collecting bits and leaving bits. A leaf from upstream caught against a rock downstream, the eggs of a frog, or salmon fingerlings join the rush. What else do the aquatic biologists find when they dip their nets and test tubes into this tiny, clear river? What surprises await the future scientists, those whose deep understanding of the forest and its structure, those with more advanced tools? Let us turn again for a moment to our human families. I have 4 biological grandparents. That's not particularly unusual, most of us do. And each of them have 4 biological grandparents. How many generations does it take to throw the number of ancestors each of us has into the triple, quadruple digits? You do the math. I know that all of these folks, named and unnamed, remembered or forgotten, contributed their share of DNA to what made me, what made each of us different from our siblings, and yet somehow alike. Where does it go from here? It all flows on. When a new family member arrives, a tiny pink squalling thing wrapped like a burrito in a blanket, we all peer in amazement. Look, does he have Uncle Joe's nose? Grandmother's ears? Will the red hair on this newborn stay red? Will it be curly? And we watch as the pink squalling thing becomes a little human and the features start to gel. And you see, yes, that nose. Or a resemblance to a baby picture of your old uncle, Sam McPherson. I have 4 grandchildren, and no one knows what the future will bring for each. I see them now, strong, adult, healthy, ready, each of them, and tackling this strange new world of ours. And honestly, how many of us ask a child or a grandchild for help with the phone or the computer? How many? Hands. Yeah. Let's hear it for that next generation. How many grandchildren have come to the rescue when you were upended by an upgrade? Alice, I'm looking at you wherever you are. We were talking about that earlier. My world, the familiar world I grew up in, has changed, disappeared. I am often confused, bewildered, or at a loss. But these descendants of mine are there by text or voice, offering love and support, as well as technical advice. In short, they have my back. Today is Father's Day, reminding us of the miracle of our own lives and the sacrifices made to help us grow. Parents carry on, putting the needs of the child ahead. Small children, as you may know no boundaries. Many among us have had the pleasure of carrying a screaming, melting down 2-year-old from a store. It can be so humiliating. And there will be somebody who says, "What a brat." But that person never, ever had a 2-year-old. Oh, those were the days. So Father's Day, take the day off. Enjoy the day as well as you can. All parents face challenges, heartbreaks, joys, and apprehensions as the little demons hurtle through their childhoods, and suddenly, wham, they're grown up, woohoo, out of the nest. We think of the fathers among us, the fathers past, the good old-fashioned hard work of being a parent, helping our young ones figure out right from wrong, up from down, important or unimportant, teaching a little one how to ride a bike, and not too much later, practice sessions driving the car in the ORUUC parking lot or a nearby park. How many of us have laid awake waiting for the car to come home, past curfew, but home at last, and we breathe a sigh of relief before finally settling in for the night. And suddenly, the front door opens, our precious offspring flee to their new jobs, new relationships, new geographies, but flee they do. We stifle the lump in our throats and cheerily wave goodbye. It isn't until our children become parents themselves that they can appreciate the awesomeness of parenting, the blessings, the glory, and the pain. My reference to that spiky, twisted outlier in Muir Woods, the ideal family, that concept of one dad, a boy for him, one mom, a girl for her, that dog named Spot, it may never have been so. The times have changed, so much for the better. We love our quirky, prickly folks. A family has become who we choose it to be. We change spouses, jump out of the closet, helped our loved ones work through the complications of a transgender world, or one in which the brain is slightly different than the one we used to call normal. The river flows on, leaving pools behind, caught against rocks and roots, joining another river downstream, wondering, becoming wider, deeper, richer. Is this what we human families do as well? The sprouts that surround that father tree in Muir Wood, are they feeling respect for this still awesome tree, protective? Will these sprouts begin to lose their luster and their own sprouts surround them? Will they too gain nutrition from the parent roots, then stand sturdily on their own, getting ready to provide a nurturing space for their own young ones to grow? Unimpeded, how far could this forest have spread? This maybe is the lesson of the trees in Muir Woods, and the lesson of families since the birth of man. Much has been learned of the forest, hidden for years by the trees. The forest shelters and regenerates and communicates in mysterious ways. Generation after generation, left undisturbed, the forest can perhaps guard itself and its offspring, creating a nurturing grove. So take care of the young, nurture them, and let them help you as you age, and know that life will flow along. Blessed be. What's next? What's next? What's next? We have a hymn.
May we have the choir back up, and I'd invite the rest of us to stand as willing, able, the better to sing. My life flows on through endless song.
forgotten that part. Okay. Oh, wait.
You read.
I'll read. You all join hands. Out of life comes death, and out of death, life. Out of the young, the old. Out of the old, the young. Out of waking, sleep. Out of sleep, waking. The stream of creation and dissolution never stops.
Well, that's a bit more than a travelogue.